Welcome to Bar City, episode 32. I'm Eric.
Kevin. Yeah. Is it 32 or 31? Yeah, it is 32.
Yep.
I do that every time. The sad
Yeah.
part is I even literally had Spotify pulled up to remind me of what episode we were on, and I still can't remember. I still couldn't remember. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I'll get it together eventually. Give me like 100 more episodes, and maybe I'll finally get it together. So,
Mm.
but actually, by then we'll be up on like on such a high episode, I'll probably start forgetting what number we're even at because
Yeah.
of how big the number is. We're like, what number is this again? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of though when it's getting to the high number. I'm gonna have to like make sure to write it down that oh yeah, it's gonna be this episode next.
Welcome to episode 1563. This
I don't know. When we get it that high up, we might stop just
yeah,
naming the
I was about to
episode.
say, will we ever hit a point where we just stop saying the number? Uh,
Just start saying welcome back to Bar City.
uh, this is a another episode,
Another episode.
pretty much.
Ugh. So,
But yeah,
what's on the agenda for the day?
not much. I woke up late. Well, because I wake up late every day, and I was about to say every weekend day, but I was like, no, let's be honest, every day. And did you hear about the new? Our audience may not care about this, but did you hear about the new Mexican buffet that's opening? I think it's Wednesday. It's going to open.
Oh no, I never heard of
Yeah, I can't pronounce the name of it, but because it's in Spanish, but
it.
but my mom texted it to me. Apparently, she used to live here in this town, so she got a message on Facebook. The restaurant was messaging everybody in this area that, or at least, you know, that had, I guess, was new people in this area. I don't know how it works. So, uh, inviting them all to come eat at their restaurant on their grand opening on Wednesday. And it was a buffet Mexican restaurant. And as soon as she texted it to me because she figured I'd probably be interested because she knows I love Mexican food. And and then I like to eat a lot of food, so I like buffets. And
I guess um, Chamalima's Mexican buffet.
maybe that's how you say it. I don't know. So
Chamalimas.
yeah. And the funny thing is literally like I think it was about 12 years ago. I literally came up with the idea of opening up a Mexican buffet in Russellville. Now, of course, there's been Mexican buffets before, but as far as I'm aware, there's never been one in Russellville. There have been, they're a bit more popular, I think, in the Texas state of Texas.
Yeah,
But I came up with an idea to open up one because I thought it would be really cool. Uh, but of course, that takes a lot of money. So
yeah.
I was planning it all out and stuff like that, and then just got distracted with other projects and never did it. But
Uh,
as soon as she texted me that, I was like, hey, they stole my idea. But I was like, honest, in all honesty, if that place tastes at least decent, I was like, they'll probably get like all my money because, like I said, I love Mexican food and I love buffets. So
yeah, I'll definitely have to try it at some point when it opens.
yeah,
Don't know where that'll
my
be,
mom
but
said she would be coming into town this next coming weekend or like Thursday and Friday. So we'll probably go eat there, like maybe Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure which day. So
you
well,
sure gonna be able to come into work after you eat there for lunch?
I do tend to overeat at buffets, but yeah, I'll probably have to come in and just like collapse in the chair and just digest for a while. So, and be like, oh god, I ate too much.
Yeah, that's why buffets are better for the weekend.
Yeah. That we don't have a lot of buffets here anymore unless except for Chinese ones. And
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of Chinese food, so I don't hardly ever eat at buffets anymore. But we used to have those, I call them the across the board buffets where they just kind of
hmm
have a little bit of everything. we used to have Ryan's here, and then they closed down, and then another restaurant that was sort of like Ryan's opened up, and then they closed down, and
Yeah.
not another one ever opened up since. So it was just like
From
we,
what I've noticed, we pretty much, especially since we've lost our pizza buffets in the area,
yeah, I forgot about the pizza ones. Mhm.
we lost majority of those because I think Pizza Inn is the only one we got.
Yeah, yeah, because we used to have Larry's
Sissy's.
Pizza, Cece's Pizza, and then Larry's Pizza eventually changed into uh, Giorgino's Pizza. I can't remember the name, but it was sort of the same thing, but just different name. And but yeah, we had a lot of pizza buffets. So
Yeah, and then now we got some down home buffets. Uh and then yeah, pretty much just down a couple down home buffets and Chinese buffets.
yeah,
And like one pizza buffet.
yeah, yeah. I really wish there were more of them because I like buffets are great, convenient for me because well, I suppose everybody's the same way that likes buffets, but I
Yeah.
know the reason why I like them is because sometimes I just want little bits of all kinds of different foods.
Yeah.
Like I don't want just like because most restaurants you go to, you'll get like your main thing, and then you just get some sides with it. But sometimes I don't want just this big main thing. Sometimes I want little bits of lots of different things. So buffets are very convenient for that. So
Yeah, because there's days that I'm like, what don't like for supper, I literally just kind of like just want sides. I don't
yeah,
want any like main dish. I just want sides.
yeah. Or if you do want a main dish, maybe just a little bit of some of it, and then yeah, a bunch of different sides, like little bites of them and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't know what you're in the mood for. You just want a little bit of everything. So buffets are very convenient for that. So
Or there's just days you're fucking hungry and you just want
yeah, sometimes you just want to
everything.
overeat, let's be honest. So and buffets are very convenient for that too. So
And typically good for the price.
yep. Yeah, I love buffets. If I haven't said that already, I'll say it again.
Yeah, you already said it a couple of times.
I'm so excited for it though.
I can tell.
I just hope it tastes at least decent. Like if it tastes horrible, I guess I probably won't ever eat there again. But because I've had some experience with some buffets. I go in there and eat it, and I'm like, oh, all this food tastes horrible. So
Yeah. Well, you'll have to let me know
yeah,
when you drag your overfilled carcass to work.
yeah. Oh, if trust me, if it tastes good, especially if it's a decent price, sometimes that's tricky to find too. Because I know
Hmm.
Ryan's, I sometimes, or not Ryan's, but what is that? Golden Corral. That's the name of that place. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll drive out of town to go to that place, and I love Golden Corral. Their food tastes really good, but
It's
man,
just
it
expensive.
yeah, it costs a lot of money to eat there. So I mean, I know you get to eat a lot, but it's like dang. So I don't eat there too often because believe it or not, I'm not made of money, so I can't eat there as often as I'd like to. But I do eat there every once in a while. So
Let's see here. Yeah. I can't actually remember the last time I went to a buffet actually. Because COVID kind of screwed all that up for me.
yeah, yeah.
I just haven't felt
Uh,
like going.
last time I went to Golden Corral anyway was last year. I went. I think it was last summer, something like that. No, it was right after the summer I went last year.
Yeah. But like we've ordered food from some of the Chinese buffets because they like
Yeah,
pile up the container.
yeah,
So I was like, yeah, I kind of wish, I'd kind of rather just sit there, but like, I'm like, I don't have the time. I can't just go on the weekends anymore. Like I'd prefer because my wife works on the weekends while I'm off. So it's kind of just, I'm like, just quick order, get a bunch of it and then go.
yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people that'll do that like at Mulan's, like where they have that deal where you can go in there and you get like your container and you just put whatever you want in it and then they just weigh it and then you pay and then you leave. So it's sort of the same
Yeah.
concept. You just get like little bits of whatever you want. The only difference is you just can't eat as much as you want. You can eat as much as
Yeah.
you can fit in there. So it's pretty much so.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, typically that's fine for me now.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I'm sure this place will probably have a similar feature where you can just go in there and like fill up what you want and then leave. So
Yeah, maybe.
we'll see.
So, besides buffets, any other fun information you gathered?
uh, Nothing I can think of really.
Hmm,
I gotta work tomorrow. That's gonna be fun.
yeah, sucks for you.
Yeah, that's all right. I could use the money.
Yeah, that's why I offered you the overtime. So I guess DC Comics is about to start a whole new universe series called the
What?
Absolute Universe.
Oh, the comics. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like about to freak out. I was like, wait, what? I thought you were saying that like they're
I
about to
think it's
start a whole
Absolute.
new universe like for the movies or something. Mm.
Nah, they're starting a whole new
I
comic
was
because
like, are
right
they starting
now,
over?
well, technically they are because James Gunn's movie.
Do it.
James Gunn's, but yeah, I mean, technically they are starting all over in the movies again because of James Gunn.
James Gunn.
So James Gunn, who was the director and stuff of Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh,
the
okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy movies. After the third one, he left and became a co-CEO of Warner Brothers, handling the DC products.
Oh, okay.
And he's rebooting. He's basically using the Flashpoint movie to
Yeah.
reboot the timeline to start his own movie universe, which he wants to. He's basically every actor he's got hired for the live action. He also wants to voice any of the animated stuff or video games from now on.
Yeah.
So it's a continuation of the same stuff. But he also has the Elseworlds universes, which were the Robert Pattinson Batman is going to be when with its Batman and Batman number two, whatever they're calling
Yeah.
it. But yeah, they've decided to because right now they were doing Absolute Power, and they've announced that they're about to do the Absolute Universe, so which is apparently a rebooted universe. Something going on because Darkseid basically caused it. I guess somehow they've played close to the chest with some of that information, but uh, it's supposed to basically like slightly alter Batman and all of them's backstory.
Yeah.
Like let's see here. Let me find the article that I read. Because Batman, which looks funky because they've altered their looks. Batman looks like he's really freaking jacked comparatively. Like he almost looks like he's Bane.
Oh,
The
really?
way they imaged it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Superman is they're donning him with the black suit again, but instead of being like the silver emblem and stuff, it's the red, still the red emblem, but it's more of like a bronzish gold background instead of yellow.
Yeah.
And the suit's all black besides that. And he's got the red cape. And he's got like I don't know if it's just a effect they put on the picture, but it looks like he's got like a bronzish gold like arm pieces. And the way they're doing it is so for Batman, because they're also doing Wonder Woman, which she's wearing a silver where the metal is typically gold or silver. This time they're doing the silver again, but they're
Yeah.
doing a red and black design. And on her right arm, she's got like tribal tattoos. and the image of her is riding like a skeletal Pegasus.
A
The
skeletal
pictures look,
Pegasus.
yeah,
Oh
those
wow.
two look cool. Batman's to me looks derpy, but it makes sense to how they're doing the story, I guess.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, Batman, they're taking away aspects from each of their storylines. So Batman is going to be a Batman that doesn't have the mansion, the millions of dollars, or Alfred. He's not going to have Alfred. So he's going to be absolutely alone. Wonder Woman, same thing in the sense she's not going to have Themyscira, the Amazonian island anymore. It's going to be gone or whatever. And Superman's not going to have the Sanctuary of Solitude. He's not going to have his foster parents, a home, nothing.
Oh
So it's
wow.
basically they're taking something that happened in this universe that's taking away the aspects of what made them, like their basic building blocks,
Yeah.
and shoving them in this world where basically it's like they left up to the reader, like, are they still going to be the heroes that they were always meant to be, or will they falter without this extra, their stuff? Basically, they got to go through all their hardships they went through before without everything they used to have to fall back on.
Yeah,
So
it
it's gonna
sounds
be,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's I mean, I believe people have done this kind of concept before or talked about it at least, but it's kind of be
Yeah.
interesting to see how they handle it.
Yeah.
So that's new in the DC comics.
Woohoo! Is your wife at work?
Yeah, she's at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she went to work at 2, I believe. Yeah, she had to go out during the day. Yeah, because since she works on the weekends, anytime we do any, which kind of sucks because, well, me being off the weekends, I can't
I was
really
about to
do
say
shit.
that's those are the days you have off.
Yeah,
It's like y'all schedule is backwards. Yeah.
yep.
Well, so
She's off on the days I have to work, and I'm off on the days that she has to work. My only 2 days off.
yeah.
So that way, for all you listening out there, all you potential fans, maybe give us some likes and subscribes and comments and reviews and stuff. Help us maybe get some of that YouTube money, so maybe my
I
wife can
was wondering
quit
where
and I can
you were
actually,
going with this. I
spend
was
some
like,
time with
what
my
is he randomly?
wife. You know, you know, that way, I can use the YouTube money as my secondary income, not my wife as a secondary income. So,
Yeah.
she can quit her job and I can just actually spend time with my wife, maybe.
Remember in the
Nah,
remember in the first episode when you were trying to get everybody to donate money to fundraise for me to get a car?
did I?
Yeah, because we kept going on and on about how I didn't have a car. And I kept
Huh?
having to walk to work. I have a car
Oh.
now, by the way, everybody. And and but yeah, so it's like, yeah, so we need to start a fundraiser for Kevin to so he can get a car so he don't have to walk to work anymore. I was just like, yeah, that would be nice.
All right. No, if anybody's listening, no, money stuff for us is a joke because we're doing this for fun.
Yeah,
Now, will we appreciate it when we can make YouTube money? Yeah. But this is a side fun project for us.
yeah, yeah. I'm not putting all my hopes and dreams into this podcast becoming a job. That would be nice if it did, but yeah, I'm not gonna like put all my eggs in the basket or anything like that. So,
Yeah. This is just because we wanted to make a fun little podcast just to talk random shit or whatever we feel like talking about.
yeah, sometimes it's just nice to just have the freedom to talk about stuff just to the general public about stuff, and that's kind of what this podcast is. So
Yep. So what's this fun little politics stuff you were mentioning
Oh
earlier
God.
today?
I don't know if I want to get into that, but anyway, well,
Oh,
it's nothing really that like it's kind of dumb, really. Uh, like
I
I
mean,
was looking up. I've been really getting interested in the past, like I guess you could say, a few months. Been getting really interested. Now I've always been semi interested in politics, pretty much since my 20s, essentially.
yeah,
Um, but I've never really like followed Arkansas politics because I live in Arkansas for people who don't know. Uh, and so here in the past few months, I've been really getting interested in Arkansan politics, like
yeah,
following kind of like what the governor does, Governor Sanders, and the senators and state senators in the House and stuff. So,
yeah.
and getting into it a little bit more and more here lately. And so I discovered a podcast about Arkansas politics, but
Oh,
it's a very, or at least from my political point of views anyway. I guess it depends on your meter, on whoever, what political meter you follow, on where you would see this. But her views are extremely far right wing views, and she is not shy about it either. She was just going on and on that stuff, which she did admit at the beginning of the podcast. She was like, "Now keep in mind, I'm not going to candy code anything. I'm going to say what's on my mind." I was like, "Oh, that's good. I would rather you just say what you need to say." And then,
yeah,
but then she started talking. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "She's very right wing." Okay. Or at least, like I said, from my point of view, she was. Like I said, other
yeah.
people that have different political views may be like, "Ah, she's not that extreme." But yeah, so she was talking a lot on. Well, she just started, so she only had a few episodes on there, but she was basically doing talking about some of the same stuff that I've been recently following, um, talking about stuff that's basically going on within just our Arkansas politics, talking about laws that have been passed recently, and I think she mentioned a few that the governor had vetoed. I can't remember which ones they were. I'd have to go back and look at them, but yeah, so she talked a lot. At one point she started talking about that we're supposed to be basing our morals on the Bible, and I was just like, oh god. That's when I really started
Uh,
that's when I really started cringing. I was like, oh. So yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, that's I won't pick on her. That's all I'll say about her. But just know, if you do come across her podcast, like I said, she's just, I can't remember the name of it. I think it just said Arkansas Politics, I think was the name of it, just a simple little name. So if you come across it and you happen to live in Arkansas yourself, then just know that she has, those are her views. So just, you have been warned. So, but those may be your views too. So you may like that. So
yeah.
yeah.
So you just semi shouted out another podcast on our podcast. Yay.
Yay. Oh, I don't mind. Yeah. So yeah. I don't mind giving free shout outs.
Right.
Yeah. I've a couple of times I've talked about the XYZ podcast, I think, on here, where they have they have three people on there. They have a person from that grew up, he was Gen X, and then person that's a millennial like us, and then they have a Gen Zer on there, a younger guy. And they all talk about like the differences on how they grew up and how they see things and how they see the world and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Hmm.
I listen to that every once in a while. So, and
Yeah.
I've mentioned it like I think like once or twice on here. So lightly.
I mean, I've mentioned a couple podcasts that I've
Yeah.
heard, I listen to. So that was pretty little. That was less politics and more just talking about a
That's why I said, I was
political
like, well, it's really not that extreme. So,
Well, I wasn't
well, she talked about other stuff on there too, but I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to start like an argument or anything. So,
gonna start an argument with me probably.
but I was
I don't
like,
know.
well,
Very
not so much
argumentative.
with you, but I don't want people to, yeah. Anyway, so,
Why not? That's how you get views.
uh,
You do the whole clickbaity thing.
oh God.
No, I've heard just a little bit about our local politics, just because every for some reason the radio station I listen to, because it plays the best of the 80s, 90s, and whatever, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, whatever,
Yeah.
the Bob FM.
Hmm.
I will get in my car and I catch it for some reason. I'll either get one song or half a song to a whole song as I'm leaving my house. And by the time I get to the bridge or my turn to go up to the highway to come to work, it'll start commercials. So half of my drive is commercials. I maybe get to listen to like three songs the entire time to work on the way to work with this radio station.
Yeah.
So, like, of course, it starts out with news, and then it goes in the commercials, and then it talks about the weather, and then back to songs.
Yeah.
So I got to hear quite a few little snippets. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll just half listen. Because honestly, in the end, I don't really care about politics, because it's just basically choosing what size dildo you want to be fucked with.
I like that analogy. Yeah.
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was only really interested in the when it came to political views, I was really only interested in like I guess you could like I liked watching a lot of debates, and but I preferred like the calmer ones, like not the dramatic, the drama that always
Yeah,
sometimes, especially in modern day politics, that always gets kind of interwoven with it. And I avoided those like the plague, but I liked watching, where they actually made topics, because to me it was interesting, and it was a great, since I was a lot younger then and wasn't really super experienced on politics. It was great for me to. I felt like I learned a lot from hearing people talk about various things that I really knew nothing about at the time, and so that's kind of how it got started, and then over the years it just kind of built from there. And
yeah.
but now I actually have no preference now. I watch debates whether they're dramatic or not, so even the dramatic ones are just as entertaining to me as the more calm, collected ones. I like both of them, so.
Yeah, I'll periodically look into certain debates, and then
Yeah.
I primarily now just focus on the stupid political stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's what most people do. It's definitely the more entertaining side of things. Mhm. I mean, you're talking about someone who's literally even watched debates, political debates in the UK. So, like I said, I like debates, so I think they're fun to watch.
I haven't done that. I haven't
Yeah.
really paid attention to
And
their
it was
government
interesting to
politics.
hear like their point of view on like conservative stuff versus liberal stuff, like versus the way America see things. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting. So because they
Well,
were,
like,
but yeah,
yeah, I've never really paid attention to foreign policy as much, like,
yeah,
unless it affects us over here.
yeah,
Unless it was like somebody we wanted to bring it up, then I would research it and then be like, okay, so okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But
That.
because it always irritates me when I see a YouTube video
Oh, excuse me.
and it'll talk about, something that's going on over here. I'm like, oh, cool, let me see what's going on. And it'd be some motherfucker from a different country. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. You don't know what's going on over here. You're just
Yeah.
watching the TV, which I don't know if you know this, but half the time what you see on TV, you can't trust.
Oh yeah. Or at least it's a very exaggerated version
Yeah,
of
or
what
it's
actually
overly
happened.
exaggerated
So
version of it.
yeah. I
Like
al-
I
I always challenge people anytime you see something on the news. I was like, I would do some further research on that. You'd
yeah.
probably find out a bit more information that they're letting on. So that's all I'll say. So mm,
Yeah.
that's the tricky thing about American politics is the US, we put our foothold in so many different parts of the world. And so sometimes when you get involved in politics in America, they have a tendency to talk about a lot of stuff going on in throughout the world because of the way we handle things, the way America handles things. So
Yeah, I don't even like that.
yeah, I kind of prefer it when they just talk about America, but it is hard for them to avoid those topics because of that. So
Like if it's something like, people dying or wars or
Yeah,
maybe a new invention that a country's done, something that's, great. Like, yeah, those I like. It's like, oh, cool, good for whatever country's built whatever or made something better. And if it's on the bad side with like wars or something, like, damn, that sucks over there. I really feel for their people.
yeah,
But I really don't give a shit in the end about their day to day.
yeah,
Like, if I want to know about their day to day and stuff, it's typically because I'm about to visit the country and I want to know what's going on before I visit, do something stupid or whatever. You know,
yeah,
like I watch their shows or movies and stuff that come out of other countries. I love their medias and stuff, but their politics is their politics, and I believe it really should stay that way as long as whatever their political movement is doing is not affecting another country.
yeah.
Now, I do pay attention to news when a country attacks another country, even if it's not our country, because I'm like, why are they doing that? What's the fucking reason behind it?
Yeah. It's kind of hard not to pay attention to it when that's going on because they kind of shove that news down your throat. Pretty much
Yeah,
anywhere you go, you're like, look at what's going on over here. I'm like, yeah, I know I've already seen it like 20 times. It's really sad. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Are we going to help interfere somewhere, or what's going on?
Well, most likely, like I said, again,
We
US,
interfere way too fucking
yeah,
much.
that's just like I said, that's how the US is. And again,
But the
like I
funny
said, when
thing
you,
about it
yeah,
is, we actually don't interfere probably any more than any other country in a lot of things.
yeah.
We're just very vocal about when we interfere.
Yeah. Well, we have in the past anyway, we have let up on a bit less recently we've let up a little bit more on like military support. And that's I think that's just because we just started to finally pull away from the Middle Eastern war. So it's like the last thing a lot of Americans want to do is get involved in another war. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why we pulled away from that, but we still do offer, of course, a lot of financial support and things like that. So, and of
Hmm.
course, advice through the UN and stuff like that as well. So,
And then you also get like with other countries facing other countries, it's like, well, which country has signed the part of NATO and which country is not? And if the one that's the aggressor is part of NATO, I mean, we really technically can't do anything without the approval of the rest of the UN
yeah,
because they're on the group, and it's like, it's like you can't attack the club member without the rest of the club members approving of it.
yeah, yeah. There are definitely some restraints there and there that people think they sometimes they think the president can just make a decision. Now, of course, if it's a military decision, I mean, he can. I mean, he is the commander in chief. He can do whatever, pretty much whatever he wants in that area. But when it comes to lending support and things like that, there are restraints there. They have to have, Congress and senator support on that. So as well.
And then depending on which country it is, they have to make sure to get UN support.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers. But once the approval is given, the commander in chief can do whatever the fuck they want,
Yeah.
minus certain war crimes. I mean, that's just because if they commit it, then we break treaties. So
Yeah.
we do have a rule in how combat is supposed to be handled.
Yeah.
Because without those rules, is how you get a country that's been it was nuked twice in a row. Sorry,
I
Japan.
was, so I was looking at my ice maker. I heard it go off. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, oh, that's my ice maker. Mm.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Japan, about the two nukes. Yeah, yeah.
Well, they started it. I'm just kidding. Well, hashtag kidding, not kidding. Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
Uh,
they did start it, but we made it worse. So admit,
yeah.
yeah. And they are still suffering from that even to this
Uh,
day, by the way. So
now I will say this though:
yeah,
if we didn't do the nukes, Godzilla would never have been created.
There
and everyone
you
loves
go.
Godzilla.
There you go.
I mean, not probably not everyone, but Japan certainly didn't love Godzilla when he first showed up.
Oh man.
But all jokes aside on that, yeah, politics is just basically also another thing with politics. It's becoming very repetitive. It's just like either it's the same
Oh, excuse me.
policies,
Sorry.
just, recolored, retextured, or it's the same old underhanded tactics to try and bully the other. Politics is just becoming a kind of a nuisance for me.
Oh,
Now, I'll pay attention to policies, but I really don't give a shit who's putting those policies out in the end
yeah.
because it doesn't matter if it's Trump, Biden, RDK Jr., or whoever replaces Biden if he steps down, like some Democrats are calling for now. Uh, I mean, they all have different politics and policies they want to put in place, but in the end, there's a lot of similar crossover policies. It all just comes down to who can actually implement the better policies and implement them in a better way.
Yeah. The
Also, a lot
Democrats.
of
Sorry.
also a lot of policies that we've seen a lot of times after, especially in the change of presidency, is literally just remnants of the previous cabinet, and the new cabinet decide, oh, I like those. We'll just keep that running, go through with it, and just turn it into what to say it was ours.
Did I
But you
just
can look
drink that
up,
entire soda?
damn.
Jeez.
But yeah,
So what would you consider to be your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie?
Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Um, that's actually a toughie.
Most people say Pulp Fiction, but I feel like that's a bit of a cliche answer. Mm.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good movies from. Let's see here. Because Reservoir Dogs are good. Pulp Fiction was actually, I mean, Pulp Fiction was great, but now I'm not the biggest fan of the Kill Bill movie. There's a reason behind that. I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, political.
Yeah. I did like Glorious Bastards, and definitely did like Django Unchained. The Hateful Eight was good.
I still hadn't seen The Hateful Eight. Unfortunately, I need to watch it.
That was
That's the
2015.
biggest problems with I have with Quentin Tarantino's like later movies is they're a bit long. And so when movies are really long like that,
Hmm.
it tends to take me a while to getting around to watching them. And The Hateful
Yeah.
Eight is just one of them where I'm just like, yeah, I want to watch it. I just haven't gotten around to watching it. It's a
Now, does
pretty
it
long
count if
movie.
he was the executive producer only?
Well, I'm mostly talking about directed movies, but yeah, I mean, if you want to include one, I
Because I
guess.
mean, realistically, because he was the executive producer on like from Dusk Till Dawn 2 and 3, which I did really love those. I loved the Dusk Till Dawn movies.
Did you know that they actually approached Tarantino back in the uh back in the day? They wanted him to do a sequel to one of the Halloween movies, whatever one they were on at the time. I think it was after Halloween 5 because this would have been in the 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and they asked him to do one, and he was actually there was many people the production company approached about maybe coming up with a story and directing a movie for him. and he was one of them. And his ideas was just like so funny to me. Like one of his ideas is what he wanted, uh, something about, I can't remember exactly how it was going to work out, but like Michael Myers and uh Donald Pleasant, or Donald Pleasance, that's the actor. Who does he play in that movie? Dr. Loomis, yeah. They wanted He was going to have them like somehow join teams at one point, and they were going to be driving around like, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of funny to me. So,
Okay then.
which they actually kind of do that idea a little bit in part six, just not quite in the same way that he introduced. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Favorite Tarantino movie. I prefer his earlier work only because I'm a sucker for crime dramas. Uh,
Yeah.
his first movies were pretty much just all crime dramas. Once he switched over to Kill Bill was when he did, of course, the first volume one is more of a kung fu movie, and volume two is sort of kung fu slash western, and
Yeah.
and then after that he kind of went into other genres. Um, I'd probably have to say Jackie Brown.
I like Jackie
I
Brown.
really like that movie. So a lot. I like Pulp Fiction too, and Reservoir Dogs is of course an awesome movie, but uh it Jackie Brown, I don't know. I like almost all the characters in that movie, and the story is just it's a good
Yeah.
mix. It's a good mix of like drama, crime, and even quite a few comedy elements in there that work really well with the movie. So it doesn't feel like forced or anything. So
So if you had to pick one movie from the action genre, just one, what would be the movie you would probably watch the most?
from the action genre,
Yes.
probably the one I have watched the most, which is Terminator 2. Yeah.
Terminator 2 is your pick for the action.
Yeah. I prefer more serious toned action movies. I don't really like action movies that have a lot of jokes inserted into it, especially if they're those forced jokes that a lot of action
Yeah.
movies have. And I think that's why I like Terminator 2. I also like Aliens and movies like that because they're just more serious toned. I like those kind of movies. So,
I would have to say my top action movie that I would watch a lot if I had access to it all the time is The Crow.
The Crow.
Yeah, with Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Because I mean, I love the whole concept of The Crow. Now, the other movies, the later movies of the Crow series was all right,
Yeah.
but they kind of just really kept regurgitating. It's almost like since Brandon Lee was no longer alive because of the situation, they couldn't really quite like hit that sweet spot again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, The Crow stands out of most movies because, like, with Terminator, multiple Terminator movies stand out of
Yeah.
that entire franchise for me.
Yeah.
Scorpion King. Of course, only the first movie really stands out the most to me because the other ones are kind of weird with the lore. They're good movies. They just went weird with the lore.
Yeah.
The Mummy movies, they're all great, but that's kind of a action comedy, in my opinion. That's got
Yeah,
too
I
much
would see those
comedy. Not,
more as action adventure movies, but yeah,
yeah.
with comedy elements. Yeah. So stupid phone going on.
I mean, I probably could guess your favorite horror movie.
You have no idea what my favorite.
It's one of the Screams.
Oh no, no. I love the Scream movies, but I wouldn't put them one of
Oh,
those. Yeah. My favorite horror movie is Friday the 13th Part 6.
ooh, is that's the one where Jason comes back to life?
Jason Lives. Yeah, where he busts out of the grave.
Yeah, well, he didn't bust out of the grave. He got stabbed with a piece of metal by fucking
Oh, he busts
okay.
out of the grave. So,
I
yeah.
didn't think they recovered him. I thought they was yeah, no, because he stabbed him. He dug, buried, he dug him up, stabbed him with that piece of metal, and that lightning struck the metal, and he came back to life.
Yeah.
And he just raised up out of the open
And then he
grave.
gets up out of the grave. Yeah.
He didn't bust out. He just got up because the grave was
Okay, well
open.
maybe bust is a bit of an extreme word, but essentially that's what he did. And then he rips the guy's heart out. So
Yeah, he rips the one dude's heart out while the other dude ran.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Friday the 13th is one of the ones that's hard for me to pick my favorite. Because I even like Jason X.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with Jason X, my favorite moment is him trying to kill the hologram campers.
Yeah.
That was just like extremely comical to
Like, you
me.
want to smoke some pot or have some premarital sex?
Yeah. I'm like,
Oh, Jason
ah,
don't like that. Yeah.
nope.
Yeah.
No, I would have to say in that series, my least favorite would be five.
I wouldn't say that's probably well in the original movie, the first original. Well, when I say original, I'm talking about the first eight of them. I guess
Yeah.
everybody has their own version of what they consider to be the original, but um, is actually part three. I just don't. The 3D one. I feel like that's out of all the characters in the story one. To me, that one's the weakest. So
Well, I mean, I would agree with that in a sense. I never watched the 3D. I just watched the regular 2D.
yeah, well, that's what I watched it in too. But you could tell that
Um,
that was the focus of the movie was the 3D, and
yeah.
they didn't even really think about character. Not that the some of the others they thought about characters and story that much, but that one was even more bottom barrel. Yeah.
Well,
So,
but the reason I like that one still even better than five is because five just irritated the piss out of me.
oh yeah,
Because the dude had an issue with the one dude killed his kid. Instead of just killing that one fucking dude or just attacking that group in general,
yeah,
he killed people that had nothing to do with it.
yeah. Well, he probably had a mental disability or something, so he was doing things that didn't really make sense. So
Well, the thing is, the reason he was doing it the way he was doing it is trying to make people think Jason was bad.
right,
The thing is, Jason didn't even kill random people. Like he literally could have. He literally traveled from Camp Lake to track down that one bitch, killed her in her house, and then went right back without killing anybody else.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have my issues with five. That's I honestly don't really think about that part too much when I think of five. I don't really think about why uh he was killing the people. I just kind of go along with for the ride. My biggest problem with five is it just kind of feels like a rated R version of Scooby Doo a little bit, and
Yeah.
I just not that that's I guess a horrible thing. I mean, but I don't know. So I have some issues with it, but I definitely don't think it's one of the worst of the original. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I would probably, I would, if I had to rank them, it probably would be somewhere in the bottom three or four,
Because
probably.
it's lower than three, but three's right above
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. To me,
um,
yeah, I would say six is the best. And then part four is also, of course, really good. Uh, and then I like part seven, a lot. And
yeah,
then of course, and I love the first one. To me, the first one is the classic. And I also like part two a lot too, actually.
yeah.
So those
Now,
to me would be the higher ranked ones, and then
if
right under that would be like part three, part five, and then probably part eight would fall somewhere in there. So
if I had to pick my favorite horror movie, especially if we want to go back like that era, would have to be the very first, Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah,
Like I like the Nightmare on Elm Street original grouping, primarily because I love how the way they utilize practical effects.
yeah. The
They
practical
built
effects in that movie are really good.
for its time. They were great.
Yeah,
And I've also seen like a picture behind the scenes of the actress playing Nancy
yeah.
when Freddy's trying to eat her or whatever, or I think it's wasn't it Nancy he tried to eat? It
I
was
can't remember.
but there's a behind the scenes picture of it. And she's actually inside the mouth, just smiling and laughing. Like you can see the whole design, the way they built it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I like practical effects.
Yeah.
That's probably why I even still like the Jurassic Park stuff, even in the Jurassic World. Is they people are like, oh, they somebody was trying to argue that they went full CGI. I'm like, no, they literally have behind the scenes of the practical effects they were using.
Yeah.
They still built animatronics for it.
Yeah.
I'm always a big adamant on practical effects alongside CGI. I hate just purely CGI.
Yeah. Practical effects do age way better than CGI does because CGI could look really good when the movie first comes out. But then fast forward 10, 15 years later, you go back and look at it and you're like, ugh.
Yeah,
But
because like,
but with practical effects, you go back and look at it and they still look pretty good, especially if they were done really well. So,
well,
mm.
because the thing is with CGI is it's always improving.
Right.
So when you start getting used to the improved stuff and you decide to go back to an old movie, you're like, oh wow, CGI has come a long way.
Yeah.
Um, and like I don't count. Do you count? Okay, question I have for you, because I don't count it as any kind of horror film to me. They're not horror films; they're more like suspenseful action films, sci-fi suspense.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, oh, they're scary. They're horror movies. The Alien movies and the Predator movies.
I would say the first Alien movie is a horror movie, or at least I would put it as one. The second one, Aliens, I would say is an action movie. So,
Yeah,
um, but it's fair to say that James Cameron directed that one, not the who directed the first one again. I can't remember his name.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that is a different director and everything. The first Predator, I don't think I would put that in the horror category. I think I would put that in the action category.
Yeah, I mean, it's for one thing, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, the whole cast, they're all action movie guys,
Yeah,
or, well, one of them's a boxing movie guy, even though he's died in his movie, those movies.
yeah.
Poor Apollo. Uh, but like a lot of people talk about like those movies scare them. I'm like, how? They're just aliens that pop out of nowhere.
I could see aliens scaring somebody, but just because a movie is kind of creepy or scary, that doesn't automatically, I think, throw it in the horror category. And I can
Yeah.
understand how someone could be maybe afraid of the alien and predator, but that doesn't automatically just make it a horror movie just because he creeps you out or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I can see where people, are afraid of the xenomorphs. I mean, considering
yeah.
Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, if I remember correctly, his
Yeah,
third form, Kira Toriyama drew it that way because he actually thought xenomorphs were creepy.
yeah,
And he wanted to make a creepier form for
yeah,
Frieza, so he copied the xenomorph style.
yeah. I would say a horror movie, I would say really has more to do with the style of the movie, not if the antagonist creeps you out or not.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I would say the first Alien movie, I could see someone easily putting that in a horror category because the style of the movie is very horror like. So,
I mean, yeah, it's kind of
uh,
claustrophobic, trapped in the
yeah.
ship. It's something that it's coming out.
But Predator, I wouldn't say the style of that movie really screams horror at all. So, really,
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's not the impression I get when I watch it anyway. So, mm.
What movies in the that it's it's classified as a horror genre in the horror genre that you would be like, nah, that really ain't horror. That's more just suspense.
Mm, hmm, I
Like,
don't
what
know.
horror movie would you downgrade to suspense because it really wasn't that horror?
Yeah,
You can actually think on this one, huh?
yeah, a little bit. There's some movies you could argue that are a bit on the fence and could lean one way or the other. Especially nowadays, some of the older ones, you could easily take some of those that were probably to people were very frightening back in the day, to where when you watch them now, you're like, this movie was considered scary at one point. It's like this
Yeah.
seems more like a soft core suspense movie to me.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you counted a
But I
lot of
can
the
see where people are
slasher
coming
films.
from. Yeah. It's like when I watched The Exorcist, it blows my mind that that movie actually scared people. But I would still say that's a horror movie, though, mostly because of the end.
Yeah. I mean, The Exorcist still like gives you
Even if it
that.
doesn't scare you, you can't deny that it is a horror movie. So,
Yeah, because it still gives you that. Like for me, a horror movie has to at least give me like the chills, like, ooh,
yeah.
no, 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 thank you. Because like gore stuff don't
Oh,
do that to me.
I would
Like,
say maybe The Sixth Sense. I know a lot of people when I was a kid used to say that movie was really scary, and when I watched it, I didn't find it scary at all.
is it actually classified as a horror though?
I think some people consider it a horror. I don't know if it's
Because
officially classified as
for
a horror.
me, that is very much a
I mean,
paranormal suspense.
yeah, I mean, and if you think about the story elements, like not don't think about the fact that they're ghosts for just a second, and just think about the story itself. It's almost more of a drama movie actually than it is really like even a horror suspense movie. But the only reason why it feels scary to some people is because there's ghosts involved. So
Yeah,
and
because
kids can see
it's
ghosts. So
uh called a horror mystery.
yeah, yeah, I could see that. So
I, but yeah, it's not really horrifying because even with the ghosts, they weren't doing anything scary. They were just kind
yeah,
of there.
right, because they were there. They were trying. They realized that the kid could see them, and so they were trying to see if they would help if he would help them. So but yeah, so and of course then he also explained in the movie that quite a few of those ghosts didn't even realize they were dead, so they were just kind of, some of them were just kind of there, so because they probably didn't even know they were dead, didn't even understand where they were at, so
Yeah. So for me, it's just more of a
yeah, I would see
paranormal
that
mystery.
if I had to put it in any scary quote scary category, yeah, I would say probably soft suspense movie, so
Yeah.
because it
So
might
that's the
scare
movie you would
maybe
downgrade.
scare young children, but I just couldn't see a grown adult getting scared by that movie, but apparently a lot of grown adults did. So
I don't even technically really see what how kids could actually be scared because they're. I mean, literally, that follows a kid who's doing this.
yeah,
Like, if you're gonna do something with horror, like when it comes to the kid that I can understand scaring other kids or maybe some adults, Chucky
yeah,
or Poltergeist.
yeah.
Those are, when it comes to kids, are actually horrifying. Or like, of course, Exorcist. Exorcist. Remember,
The
one of the
funny thing
reasons it
is,
gets to me is the fact that it's a demon possessing kid.
yeah. Funny thing is Poltergeist to me almost feels more like a fantasy movie, especially toward the very end of it when they find that like little portal thing through the closet. Like
Yeah,
I was just like, this feels very fantasy to me. This doesn't even feel like it's a horror movie anymore. The beginning kind of sets it up that way with things moving around and stuff like that. But once it gets really into the meat of stuff, to me, it just kind of ditches the whole horror feel and just fully embraces fantasy. So that's just the way I feel though when I watch it. So,
hmm.
but
Yeah,
But yeah, a few
and
here and there. Like I said, it horror can be tricky sometimes because
yeah,
it can depend on the individual if they find it legitimately creepy or not. But like I said, there's some things I would put in the horror category, whether I find it scary or not. Like an example of The Exorcist. Yes, that's definitely a horror movie. Even though it doesn't scare me, it is definitely a horror movie. So
yeah. Like I count. I still agree. Like Hellraiser because that's a movie that's Hell, the Hellraiser series has never scared me. Even watching as a little kid, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
those are
that movie's
cool.
not.
That's wicked.
Yeah, that movie's not scary to me at all. So
But I would count it as a horror film because
yeah,
the way it works.
yeah, it is definitely a horror movie.
It still has moments that make me go, ugh.
Yeah.
Any movie, for me, also, this might be a hot take on this, that if the movie is nothing but jump scares, I won't count it as a horror film.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of jump scares. I don't mind one or two, but yeah,
Well,
some movies get
like,
really,
I
really
don't
annoying.
mind having multiple jump scares
Yeah, because it feels so
as
cheap.
long
It
as
feels cheap. Yeah, it feels like a
as
fake
long as the
scare.
jump scares were added after you built a nice like horror atmosphere. Like you're the viewer is already gonna be creeped out. They're already gonna be on edge, like hiding themselves. And then
Yeah.
you add a jump scare just to push them over the edge. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah.
But like that's partially like why I didn't out fully like the paranormal activity movies.
Yeah.
Now they had some things there, that was going on that was creepy. I'm like, oh, and I did like the story aspect.
My avatar fell.
But
Mm.
but they did lie heavily on jump scares.
Yeah, it has been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, it's not been that long ago that I actually watched them
Yeah. I
just
will
for the hell
admit,
of it.
the first time I watched Paranormal Activity, it actually did creep me out a little bit. But
Yeah.
I was a lot younger then, so I don't think that movie would scare me if I rewatched it today.
Now, again, like anytime, and I hate that I have to. It kind of sucks for me that for me the only two really good movies that are done in that style, like the kind of found footage style or with multiple cameras, there's only like three that I really love. And that's, of course, the first Blair Witch,
Hmm.
Cloverfield, and let me make sure the name because I like I for some reason with this movie I love it and I want more of it, but I always forget its name. Like I can tell you every scene bit by bit, but I forget its name. So one about the three kids, the three boys that get telekinetic powers.
Mm, I don't
They
think I've
all
seen
they're
those.
filming and they go into that cave and they touch that crystal and it blasts when they get telekinetic powers.
Doesn't sound familiar. It sounds interesting though.
Chronicle.
Chronicle? Hmm,
Yeah, it's a 2012 movie.
I never
That's probably
seen
why I forget the name. It's just called Chronicle. It's not like a pop out name, even though Cloverfield is for some reason.
it.
I don't
Yeah, yeah.
know.
It's funny what things will stick in your brain sometimes. So,
But yeah, the synopsis of it. Three high school friends gain superpowers after making an incredible discovery underground. Soon they find their lives spinning out of control and their bond tested as they embrace their darker side. It's a good
hmm.
movie. I recommend it.
Yeah,
It's of
it
course
sounds
and
interesting, but I
it's
have never
the
seen it, never even heard of it.
yeah, it's in the found footage section because of course it's only them with their cameras.
Yeah,
And those are the three great found footage movies that I really love. Oh, actually, correction. There's another couple great ones actually. So these two movies were the kind of a weird coincidence they were made.
yeah.
Uh, and there's another one that I can remember every scene but forget the name.
Have you ever seen The Visit? That's not a bad one.
The Visit's pretty good.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. That one's like the kid record most of it on like his little camcorder phone thing.
Yeah.
And it's not bad.
Grave Encounters is what I was looking for.
I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's not bad. I think that movie
Yeah.
would have actually been better if it was filmed more like a standard movie instead of
Yeah, that would
found
have made more
footage.
sense for that one.
It almost feels like M. Night Shyamalan had the idea that story written first. And then during that time when those kind of movies started kind of making a comeback, he decided to just kind of make it that way just to see if maybe it would get more viewers or he thought maybe it'd be more interesting. I may be wrong. It just feels that way when I watch it. So
Well, I mean,
So
Also in the same vein in that era, I mean that was 2015. I mean before that you had like VHS,
yeah,
which that's a great horror film, found
yeah, that
footage kind of
one's
thing.
pretty good. It's kind of weird, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because it's kind of a anthology horror collection.
Yeah.
But the movie that I was thinking about is Grave Encounter 2.
Hmm.
Those two movies are fucking great. Uh the funny thing about it is, back when the internet, was kind of starting to get popular and you had the forums you'd meet each other people on, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember the
You
forum
didn't have
days.
the social media, you had the forums.
Yeah.
Well, the directors were two guys that met on a horror or a directors forum or something like that.
Oh really?
And they just started talking about their idea.
Yeah.
They actually had an idea for a different movie that they were going to try and push together, but it wasn't getting the traction to take off.
Yeah.
So then they created Grave Encounters, and that took off
Yeah.
and got traction. And they was able to make a movie of it. Like they just randomly encountered each other in a fucking forum and decided they're like, oh my god, you're my friend now, and made a movie, and it was a phenomenal movie. And it follows the first movie follows a paranormal team called Grave Encounters.
Yeah.
They're kind of a hoax paranormal team. They don't really actually catch anything, and it's kind of early on in their career, and they're going to the asylum. And it's kind of funny because it's like you'll see them like filming stuff,
Hmm.
and then it cuts to like them like getting off the camera and like talking like behind the scenes in a sense to each other. Yeah, and but the place they're in actually turns out to be actually haunted, like overly deathly haunted. And so they get wrapped up into it.
Hmm.
And the second movie is about a college kid that has gotten his hands on some of the Grave Encounter film because at some point the story, I guess people think the film itself is a hoax or not, it was fake because it's kind of found footage thing. And he decided because he's in film school, he's doing horror movies. He actually wants to get his friends together and go actually see the place himself. They break into it and they discover it's actually all true. And they continue basically the adventure the other ones the other group had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole fun thing. Another one, like I'm on the found footage section that I'm kind of on the fence on. Like sometimes I'm like, I really like this, but no, I don't know. Is As Above, So Below. Have you ever seen that one?
The name sounds familiar.
It's where they go into the catacombs under Paris.
I don't think I've seen it.
I mean, it's 2014 movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
They kind of count Sinister as a found footage movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they find the films in the movie.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
fa-
I guess I could see where they're coming from, but yeah.
it's like partially found footage.
Yeah.
Uh,
I never really thought about
And
it like that.
and that's a good way to do some things like that, like having it where there's some footage like that that the movie plays off of. Like VHS kind of does that, but sorry, I actually like some found footage stuff. It kind of
I can
those
tell.
kind of those
That
kind of end up creeping me out more
yeah.
sometimes.
Those aren't my favorite kind to watch, but they can be good if they're done a certain way. Well, they can
Yeah,
be, I should specify they can be good for me if they're done a certain way. But typically that's my not my go-to kind of movie. So I just prefer the more standard filming so format.
I do on average, but like some horror films, like the way they can do some of these, like would be great found footage
Oh man. It
is
is a
more for
niche.
me.
Yeah, it is a very interesting idea. I'll give it that.
because it's putting you like visually behind the camera. So
Yeah,
like you see it coming at you.
yeah.
Because like those are the scenes that creep a lot of people out.
Plus, it kind of gives you that feeling like maybe you came across this footage yourself or something, and now you're
Yeah.
just kind of watching it. So,
And
and it,
like
yeah.
quarantine, you know, it's like a news some like they showed like news bits of what's going on the outside and then you got them on the inside with just a little camera because, uh a lady was just filming, fire department firefighters in their daily life for a news article, and she got to go along the ride along with them. And well, she's now in an apartment complex during this quarantine because some kind of viral thing is turning people crazy. So it kind of gives you that rush of like, oh shit, like this if this happened, like what would you do behind that camera? Like how would you feel about it? I just like feeling like I'm more on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Because like that's what I like. One reason I like the Cloverfield movie is like watching. Like you can sometimes see things from the small people's perspective, but it's like a glimpse. But actually, like following someone's whole entire like trying to survive the kaiju barreling through the city.
Hmm.
That's kind of more horrifying than being up there at the top watching from the kaiju level.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You're just that's all you were doing.
It's probably because I had my thumb over my mouth, so it thought I was
Oh,
opening it for some reason. Well, we're about out
oh.
of time. Did we want to reload it?
Now let's do a shorter Wednesday.
All right.
But we'll leave it here with all the fun horror talk, movie talks, and do the typical things of like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Spotify and Instagram if you ever actually like updates it.
Don't pressure me.
That took you so long to answer. Well, everyone, have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.